Hello there and welcome to another layout update by LNER fan 4472. Now looking over there, nothing has changed, but if we look over here, yes, there is now a double track in place. I proposed the idea to my parents of building an extension, a rather obstructive extension. There would be two lines coming off here, and obviously they'd stop there and make another curve, and then they'd come onto a piece of baseboard here and go straight down there where my fingers are, go down there and link up with the track that's over there. Basically, just that bit there would apply over there, but mirrored obviously. The same method would be used, double track, a point leading off into the two platforms. But you're thinking, why not build a fiddle yard or two reverse loops? Now the problem with a fiddle yard is it's going to be way too expensive, and I do not have the expertise to build helixes, and obviously there's a lot of obstructive things under the board. This is all for my stepdad's business, and this needs to stay here due to easy access because the loft is obviously difficult to access for him. And the two reverse loops, I don't know, they just don't seem, I just don't fancy them. I'd rather have two tracks where I can have two trains going around in circles next to each other, and I can have that platform there, you know, for shunting and what have you. Obviously I want to have my turntable there, so there'll be a lot going on in this area here. This would be like the sheds slash depot, if you like. Not the goods depot, obviously it'll just be for locomotives. Now obviously it is still going to be a rather expensive process, and since I'm coming up to the age of 17 I'm going to have to start financing this myself soon, and obviously, as we all know, model railways is not a cheap hobby. Even if you're buying dead expensive locomotives or track, it still isn't cheap. And I'm really struggling to find a part-time job in this current economic climate. Obviously I've got to put the effort in myself and the job won't hand itself to me. I have got to get out there and try and find the job myself, but it's still really hard to fund a model railway, especially at this age. But it will slowly expand, you know, it's not the end of the line, by all means, hell no. It's just going to make slower progress, if you like, but it will eventually make progress. And unfortunately, just like High Speed 2, to get this extension done, it's probably going to take about 10 years in Parliament. Obviously it is going to be a very obstructive extension for my parents because my stepdad needs to gain access to all of his stuff for his business, and I don't know whether my parents will be using this for leisure because ever since we moved here a couple of months ago they've never stepped foot in the summer house for leisure activities, and I've been the only one doing that, so I consider this my own little flat, if you like. So I proposed to them, well, since you don't really use this as much as you would expect to, why not hand it over to me, and I'll do whatever I can with it to get the most out of this summer house. And I think that's going to be the way it is, and definitely going to have to fund it myself because this was paid for by my parents, and obviously it was not cheap, as you can see by the visual appearance of it. But to have just two loops going round, and you know, with dead smooth curves as well, to see them going round at speed and just to be sat there in the middle would just be a phenomenal experience, I think. Because if you remember back to my old layout, it was just second, third and fourth radius curves. You know, just a common layout, nothing special for anybody else, but it was for me. But to see them going around at high speed here, and for me just to be able to follow them, would just be a phenomenal experience for myself. Anyway, aside from the proposed facelift, a lot of other work has gone on. I now have the two electrofrog points installed, and they're really simple to install if you're going to do them in this format. Like this one trails off to two sardines, or in this case platform. Basically what I did was I used the bus wire. If we just take a look at the bus wire quickly, as you can see I've inserted some chock blocks, and the wires have come up here to feed power to these rails here, both here and here. Now these rails are now lav, and then suddenly we come to here where this is isolated to prevent a short circuit obviously, but then this bit goes dead, and to resolve that problem I have put 2 more wires here. Now all of this is now live, including the frog, and there will be no short circuits and no hassle. Now the problem with electrofrog points for me personally is when it comes to junctions like these. This is where it starts to get a little bit complex, so I tend to avoid those and use install frog points. Obviously wherever I can put electrofrog points I will, such as here. An electrofrog point will be going here, so 2 wire feeds here, another wire feed here, and another wire feed here. Oh no, there's one already over here, so that makes it even simpler. So the track can just simply come down here, link up with there. Obviously we can't forget our isolating fish plates, and jobs are good and it's all sorted. And then I'll have to drill a hole for the point motor as well. On the subject of point motors, nearly all the holes are drilled for the point motors. They're done, they're done. All those at the far side are done. This one's done, but oddly enough, this one isn't done yet. I don't know how I managed to miss that, but I'll have to get that drilled at some point. And track. Hornby track to be more specific. I really don't like it. I really don't like it. Such as these Hornby Express points. Look at the size of that dead spot. It is ridiculously big. I mean, if we just come to a Pico install frog point, you know, that's okay. You know, it's still dead here and there, but nowhere near as much as the Hornby point. And it's just so unrealistic. You know, at first glance it's like any other point, but when you start to get close to it and start to look at it, it is really unrealistic, and I've been vowing myself to replace them ever since. Such as I did a track replacement last month, and there were 2 Hornby points here, and I replaced them with Pico install frog, and you know, they're still plastic bits, but nothing compared to the Hornby points. Anyway, rant about Hornby points over. And one final thing just before I go, I cannot recommend this enough to you guys. Track Magic, along with a Pico track rubber. This just gives you the definition of smooth running on your layout. If you first wipe the track with the rubber, then sweep the surface of the rail with your fingers and then hoover it all up, because obviously it leaves quite a lot behind, and then sort of coat the surface of the rail with Track Magic, and it really does give you results, as I'll show you now. Now, before I clean this track with the Pico track rubber and the Track Magic, my locomotive Merlin, which is an A4 Pacific, was struggling on this section of track, and often died because the track was that dirty. And now, after rubbing it with the Pico track rubber and giving it a coat of Track Magic on the surface of the rail, I will now demonstrate to you what a difference it makes. And to make the test fair, I'm going to be using a tank engine and putting it on one of the lowest settings, just to demonstrate how smooth it is. Look at that. Look at that. Now, this locomotive has not been ran in or anything. She has not moved for a good 2 days in the freezing cold. And look at that. The track is just doing all the work now. Track Magic, along with the track rubber, you know, as long as you put some effort into it, you will get good results. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this layout update. Once again, thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned for the next layout update, which will probably be next month, when I've made a bit more progress working towards the extension and laying some more cork underlay. Once again guys, thank you very much for watching. See you later.